Hello, I just wanted to quickly share some music, what I'm calling music painting, it's kind of like word painting with this Carulli Andante. So, these pieces by Carulli and Carcassi and sometimes Saw and Giuliani, they can seem really bland and, in some ways they are musically bland if you play just the notes, but if you read into the text a little bit, you can start to portray some really powerful imagery. So this Andante here, I was just working on this with a student. She's quite a young student, so I used the analogy of weather to sort of create a story out of this Andante. And I mean, you can see there's no dynamic indications, so we have to really be quite imaginative. So this is what it sounds like. I'll just play a little bit of the start. Right, so this kind of texture is really repeated throughout. It's very repetitive. There's no dynamic indication. So if you're just reading the notes, without any kind of music painting, then you end up with something right. I'm already starting to think, what's for dinner, so if we use weather as an analogy, now weather works very well for analogies because we're all familiar with it, right? It's always a talking point, something we all know what rain and wind and storms and sunshine, we know it, and that's why it can be really powerful to associate weather with music. So this first section here, sort of thinking that's gloomy, raining and windy, which happens to be right now here in Melbourne where I live. So okay, so now I'm already starting to trying to portray that. I'm doing that in a couple of ways. One is through the tone color. Tusto creates a sort of a gloominess. It's in A minor. A minor can be, in any minor key can be a little gloomy. Raining, it's got this, it's got this pitter patter, it's kind of continuous. And then windy can be portrayed or depicted with the dynamics. And if you follow the shape of the melody, you crescendo when the melody rises and you decrescendo when the melody falls, then you end up with what I think sounds like a kind of windy gesture. Because just in the span of a bar, 1.5 bars or 2 bars, crescendo and then decrescendo, these little swells as the melody rises and falls. Okay, so if you follow along the melody and do that, it can sound windy. And then if you play with a warmer tone color, it can sound gloomy. So all of a sudden, there's a lot of detail to refine, and that also gives a clear meaning to the music. The next section here, thought of as stormy. So back to gloomy and windy and rainy. All right, I think that becomes quite exciting now. We have a lot of contrast on both large and small scale. Every measure, there's some dynamic detail, and then between phrases and sections, there's contrast as well. So then the piece goes into a totally new direction. It goes into C major. It's the B section, goes into C major, and I thought of something like Playing Out in the Sunshine. And then, funnily enough, if you trace a line, you can see there's Roy G. Biv, red, orange, yellow, green, blue, indigo, violet, the colors of the rainbow. If you trace a line across the melody, it's going up gradually and then down gradually. It's kind of like a rainbow. So playing out in the sun would be brighter. Another analogy is going down a slide as well. That kind of, there's a lot of fun playing out in the sun, skipping around, right? It's not gloomy and slow and sluggish anymore. It's going to be a little brighter, a little bit more playful, a little more direction. And then we get this new section here. To me, that's like a little bit of a back and forth between maybe one kid who's going, very nasally, very playful, and then, so we can use tone color to sort of portray that. And then we go back to the rainbows again, 2 rainbows, and then we go to finish the piece back to the A section, back to the gloomy, rainy, windy, stormy section. And just to finish, this is very, very quick, really summarizing things quickly, but one way to really bring out dynamic detail, if we're doing a crescendo, decrescendo, it's easy to think that we're doing it, but to actually do it in a graded and really convincing, really refined way, it can be helpful to think of a staircase. So if we want to do a crescendo, think of each note as going up the staircase, one note at a time. And then this one going up here again, up to the F, and then it drops down to the E. Okay, so if we think about that, up, and then up, and then up, and then up, and then down. So that can really help to give you dynamic detail that's very refined, very nuanced. Okay. All right, we'll finish there. I've got to go on to my next student. So thank you. See you later.